Isolation day 89, Monday the 15th of June. I hope you're all well and you're looking after yourselves. The weather in the UK is stunning. As you can tell here, the sun is gleaming through my windows in my office, which is really nice. I've got the windows open, so it's a nice evening. I decided to record this video slightly earlier than I normally would, mainly because of that. What I'd like to do tonight is, after yesterday's video, Lisa very kindly posted a number of questions, and I'd like to run through each of those questions in turn and try and answer them. So I'll read the question to you guys and then we'll run through each of those. First question. So Lisa says that she's type 1. She's MDI, so multiple daily injections and low carb. What works best for her is when she keeps the amounts consistent day to day. Carbs are consistent day to day. And I completely agree. And that's exactly the way I ran my keto diet as well, because what I found was when I didn't do that, I was out of control, to a certain extent. What would happen is if I had too many carbs, my bloods would go really high. And that's the problem with insulin sensitivity, or resistance actually was the case. So when I had carbs and I took the insulin to cover the carbs, it never really quite worked, mainly due to the fat. So if you read the Mastering Diabetes book, they explain it much more eloquently than I can, but the fat effectively would stop the sensitivity of the insulin, and therefore it working over a period of time that it should work. The first question you ask is, with the combination of the pump and the increased insulin sensitivity, do you expect to get to a point where you can vary the carb amounts based on a reliable insulin to carb ratio? The answer to that question is absolutely. That's where I really want to get to within a period of time. But I mean, the underlying factor at the moment is where my insulin sensitivity is becoming more and more sensitive, my background insulin is having to be changed. So at the moment, I've got the sort of dual aspect, which is the basal and the bolus changing at the same time. It's not the easiest thing to deal with, but as you can tell by the number of lows I was having, I have slightly reduced that. But absolutely, at the moment, what I'm not doing is I'm kind of experimenting with it as well. I'm not sticking to the same carbs for every meal. Maybe I should, but actually if you follow meal plan 1 or meal plan 2 that's in the Mastering Diabetes book, they don't stick to the same amount of carbs. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do exactly what it says in the book, and I'm going to follow the routine, because if I deviate from it too far, then I'm sort of undermining the whole process. So I hope that explains it. Absolutely, I need to get to a stage where I'm comfortable with the insulin to carb ratio and my basal insulin is not affecting that. So that answers the first question, I hope. Do you think looping will let you do this? Without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, here is my Medtronic sensor or transmitter. I have the sensors here. Okay, I haven't used those in 5 weeks, and the reason for that is the CGM works in tune with my Medtronic 640G pump, which is here. Okay, and what it will do is the looping will switch off. So if I'm due to go low, it will suspend the basal insulin. I don't want it to do that at the moment. I really want to see how far I have to go, how low my bloods go after meals and at other times as well, as you've seen, and then how many carbs I'm having to give, so that I can make appropriate adjustments. The CGM would undermine that process, because I just wouldn't know. Strictly speaking, I guess I would know how long it would be switched off, but even so, I quite like the fact that I've actually haven't used it for 5 weeks now, or a bit, just less than 5 weeks. Yeah, I'm more than happy to post some images of food that I'm eating. Here's a couple of breakfasts. Here's a couple of lunches. And here's a couple of evening meals, okay? I'm really enjoying the fruit element of it, but believe me, I'm really enjoying the fact that I can consume carbs and my bloods are not going haywire as they were before on very, very low levels of carb consumption. Exercise. No, at the present, I'm not keeping my exercise consistent. And the reason I'm not keeping my exercise consistent is because what I was doing historically was training at home, so throwing a few weights around, doing calisthenics and doing pull-ups, but I was also going for a jog. The problem with going low so often at the moment is that if I go jogging or running, I invariably go low. It doesn't see, I was doing that before, let alone now. I'm just a bit concerned about doing it. So I've stopped the running. I haven't been running. I think I've been twice in 5 weeks and I've been low both times. What I need to do is get to grips with my basal. And as soon as I've done that, then, because in theory, you shouldn't have any insulin on board when you're training anyway. So then I can go running. But other than that, I am training every day in so much as doing calisthenics, so pull-ups, core work. I'm also doing some weights. I say every day, sorry, 5 days out of 7. I can't do it every day of the week, but it's really important because it's another factor towards keeping my insulin sensitivity up. But not only that, it really helps with your mindset. You know, I feel so much better after training. And if I don't train for 2 or 3 days, I feel a bit lethargic, and you can get into a groove of not training. I don't want to do that at all. I think it's really important, especially at my age. Lisa says, my resistance to high carb is that you risk lows because it is hard to match insulin to glucose going into the blood. Is this what is happening with you, or is it a matter of getting your basal right? I think it's both. I think it's a matter of getting the basal right. So that's why you do the fasting. So I'm just coming up to do my second fast, probably tomorrow, maybe the next day. And when I do that, I will be able to check my background insulin. Once I get to grips with the background insulin, then I can be even more confident with dealing with the bolus. Okay, I'm not particularly worried about the carb intake at the moment. I'm not that worried about so many lows. I just want to stop them happening. It's funny, isn't it? It's kind of my mindset. I worry more about highs because I feel like I'm out of control. With lows, this kind of makes sense. This was the whole point of doing this. So I think that covers all of the questions you asked, Lisa. I hope that answers them well enough. At the moment, I'm kind of feeling my way through. And from everything that I've read, this insulin sensitivity should continue for a period of time. So I'm constantly making changes to my basal and my bolus insulin. I guess what I will do, and thank you for your points, I will post a few more pictures of the food that I'm eating on a daily basis. And what I'll also do is I'll give you a bit of an update on my adjustments that I'm actually posting. I just don't want these videos to be too long because I'm sure they can be a bit of a grind. I hope that answers everything you asked, and thank you very much for the questions. I really do appreciate it. If you've got anything else to put, or anyone has any questions, then just let me know. Believe me, I do intend to increase my my exercise, and I do intend to get on top of this. As I said, I'm trying to do it for my birthday, which is 11 days time. Try not to put myself under too much pressure. Have a good night. Look after yourselves, okay? I'll catch up with you tomorrow.